Are you feeling so stressed and overwhelmed by homeschooling right now that you are even considering putting your child in public or private school, yet you feel in your heart that that might not be the right choice? You just don't know how to continue forward because at this point it's almost impossible? Then this video is for you, because I'm going to give you some solid tips of how to get through that overwhelm, what to do when it has become basically impossible to homeschool your child, how you can get through that, and how you can push through that difficult season. Hey guys, so my name is Madison. I am a homeschooling mom of 4 kids, 9th grade, 1st grade, pre-K, and a toddler. And I really felt it on my heart to film this video because I myself have gone through some struggles with quitting homeschooling with my oldest specifically, who is in 9th grade. I have a large age gap between him, obviously, who's in 9th grade, and then my child that is in 1st grade and my other little ones. So I went through a period of time when I was extremely sick and pregnant, having newborns and having toddlers, all while trying to homeschool an older child that is not just like in kindergarten or 1st grade, but he was in like 4th grade and above. So I have gone through some difficult times, and I actually put my oldest back into public school because I felt like I couldn't give him what he needed at the time. And I will say now that that is one of my biggest regrets in life. That sounds harsh, but it is true. I truly regret it. And if I could go back in time and give myself some advice, I'm about to give that advice to you guys. So I know exactly what I could have done, and I wish that I had known that, or I had a support system around me of people that could give me some new ideas, because all I was seeing is that I cannot sit down for hours or even an hour or two and homeschool my child when I am going through all of this with my younger kids. That's all I could see at the time, and I couldn't see any other options besides just throw him back into public school. Now, also at the time, I remember people would say about homeschooling, sure, try homeschooling, try it, because, you know, if you need to put your kid back in public school, it's super easy. You can just put him back. It's not a big deal. That was harmful for me, because then at the back of my mind, anytime things got tough, and things in homeschooling are going to get tough. You are going to have bad days, bad weeks, bad months. There are going to be hard seasons in homeschooling. And if you have in the back of your mind that you can always just throw them back into public school, that is kind of like what you think is an easy way out to do. At least for me, that's what it became. Now, I am not making this video to bash anybody. This is just, you know, to put anyone down. Everyone's different, every family's different, and I support you if you need to put your kid in public school or if you're putting them in private or whatever. I fully support you. I'm just saying that if you really don't want to, but you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you're trapped, that you have to. That's how I felt. I felt that I had to put my child, not that I wanted to put him in this school. Maybe you found this really great private school that you love and you actually want to put them in that school. That's different. I felt like I had to do it because I couldn't homeschool. Even though I wanted to, I couldn't. And I don't want you guys to feel stuck like that. I want you to feel like you have options, because I wish that someone had told me that I did have other options besides putting him in public school. So here is my advice. If you have, now first of all, I still struggle to this day because I still have a toddler and a preschooler. It's hard. It is. It is very hard homeschooling with little ones around. It's a struggle. And that's a whole other video of like homeschooling with little ones that I do plan on making and just telling the truth about that and all of that. But for this video, just how to get through that tough season. So say you're going through a tough season where you're pregnant and you're super sick, or you have like babies and toddlers and things are just crazy and you just can't sit down and give your child that one-on-one attention with their schooling. What I would have done or wish I would have done, and what I would tell myself now, instead of putting my son back in public school, because he did not like it did not go well, and I ended up pulling him out and putting him back in multiple times, and that was a real struggle. Like, I hate that I did that, and I think that that's something that people should think about before they put their kid into school is this going to be a long-term thing? You might think, oh, it's fine, I'll just put them in for a year and take them out next year. Like, this is just for this year. But there are implications when you do that. When you put your child in school and then take them out and then put them in and take them out, it's pretty tumultuous, for them to do that. But then also, if you put them in school, what if they love it? What if they think in their childlike mind that this is the best thing ever? And then you decide as an adult, for your adult reasons, that you're not going to do it anymore. And that crushes them. Because to them, they love it. Or what if you can't do it anymore? You can't afford it anymore, or whatever. There are lots of reasons why I feel inserting your child into the school system could, unless you're pretty positive and committed that they're going to stay until senior year, I would really just stop for a moment and think. And that's why I have come to a point where I am 100% committed. I am married and I'm committed to my husband, fully committed to our marriage. And I don't just think when times get hard that, oh, I'm just gonna leave our marriage or whatever, this is a commitment. And sure, there could be something really horrible that happens that ends our marriage, but for the most part, just because it's a hard season, I'm not going to leave. And I feel like that's what I've come to with homeschooling, is that it would take something extreme, and we've even gone through a health crisis and we didn't quit homeschooling. So it would take something really extreme for me to decide that I'm going to put them in school. And I would want to think this is a long-term thing. I would not use putting my child in school as a short-term thing. I think that there are too many things that can go wrong with that. Your child's perspective on homeschooling, how they feel about it, matters. Perspective is everything. In the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or even teens, the teen one I'm reading with my oldest right now, it talks about paradigms. It's basically your perspective and paradigm shifts. And so when you're thinking about yourself or your child, you don't want their perspective on homeschooling to be tainted, is my opinion. And I think that if you put them in a regular school setting, it can confuse them. And kids are very malleable and easily confused and easily influenced by things. And I just think that it can cause them to be like, oh, this is what school's supposed to be now. And it kind of indoctrinate them and this is how school should be. And maybe they just think, this is for me, I like this. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, dude, this was just for a season. This was just for a year. Sorry, pull them out. And your adult brain understands that. But for them, they might not. And I don't want to taint my children's idea of homeschooling. So that's a whole other thing that I would say if you're thinking about quitting homeschooling, even if you're like, oh, I'll just do this for a year, no big deal. I think that that's a commonly expressed idea that is actually harmful. I think that it actually is a big deal and a big decision for many reasons, and that it should not be in the back of your mind. Oh, maybe if things get tough, I'll just put them in school. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's harmful for you and your kid. Editing Madison here. Sorry, my tripod just broke. But I wanted to throw in a couple of things that I didn't say in this video. So there are obviously many reasons that you might feel like you want to quit homeschooling. I talk a lot about in this video just overwhelm, having younger kids, and just feeling stressed and overwhelmed in that way. But there's also other reasons, maybe, for job or financial reasons, you feel like you need to go back to work or, work outside the home or just work from home, but it's getting in the way. It's too much work compared to the, amount of time you need to focus on your kids' schooling, which was something that happened to me. What other reasons? There's tons of other reasons why. And so I think with each reason, there's probably a different answer that I could give, but then at the same time, like a different solution for the problem you have with homeschooling. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I think the most important thing you have to realize is homeschooling a priority to you? Like I was saying, is this a commitment? Are you that serious about homeschooling? And if you're not, and it's not that big of a deal to you, then, that's different. But if it is a priority, then you need to treat it like one. And if you are putting other things ahead of it, like money or whatever, and I understand sometimes you literally have to, but maybe you don't. I felt like I had to. I was working on my cleaning channel a ton, and I felt like I couldn't homeschool at one point because I was just like, I have a full-time job. This is too much. I can't also give my kids what I want to give them with homeschooling. But I knew I absolutely loved homeschooling and believed in it. And I'm glad my husband was really firm on wanting to homeschool. So I'm glad that we ended up doing it and that my priorities just shifted. I went from the mindset of thinking I have to work, I have to do this, and so I cannot homeschool, to no, I don't necessarily have to, and work the amount that I'm working, and I, might have to make some sacrifices, but it's worth it to me to make homeschooling the priority. So I think I put in my notes something, let me see. So it says, I wrote, focus on your priorities. Is homeschooling a high priority to you? If it's not, maybe you should quit. But if it is, live your life that way. That means sacrificing other things for it. So we can't have it all. We can't have everything that we want in life. It's just not realistic. We are going to have to make some sacrifices. And so if homeschooling is that important to you, then you have to think, okay, this is my priority. And yeah, I'm going to have to make sacrifices in other areas. And honestly, that gave me a lot of peace realizing that. Being fully committed and realizing how important homeschooling is to me took away so much of the turmoil of well, what if we do this or what if we do that? It's no. Homeschooling is one of the number one priorities in our family. We believe in it that strongly, and we are going to make it work. And that just made me be like, whew, okay, it's not should we homeschool? Should we not homeschool? That's off the table. It's just how are we making this work? That took away a lot of my stress and turmoil in my heart and mind. So anyway, that's just a little side note I thought I would throw in here. So instead of doing all of that, what I would suggest is maybe find an online curriculum. Okay, we have a visitor. So I am not thrilled about doing an online program for younger kids, but I think that if you have toddlers or babies and it's just a little bit tough at the moment, I think that's a better option than putting them in school. So if I were to do it over again with my oldest, when I had the babies, I would, what this? I would have put him in Abeka online. It's a very strong program. He would not be missing out on academics. He would still be learning a ton. And so I would set him up online with that. Okay, I'm gonna have to speed this up because she is not happy. So I would do Abeka online. It's a strong curriculum, and I think they would learn a lot. Then I would plug into my community. So for us, we have a school for homeschoolers. It's an elective thing they can do once a week. My kids already do that, where they can pick different fun electives. So I would put my child in that. There also is so there's an elective thing that they offer once a week. And then they also offer for younger kids actual math, English, history, science type classes once a week as well. And then once they get to middle school, they offer, this is what my oldest does right now, a full-on school that's kind of like college. My son loves it so much more than, which I actually did too. When I started college, I enjoyed school so much more than I did when I was in high school and middle school and had to go Monday through Friday all day long. When you're in college, you generally go to your classes Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday type classes. and you know, it's a little bit longer, the class is, but you take fewer classes, probably like 4, maybe maximum 5 classes in a semester, and you go to those classes a couple times a week. And then you have work you have to do at home outside of the classroom and everything. That worked so much better for me than being trapped, basically babysat in a school all day long. So there's something in our area that actually offers that starting in 6th grade. And so I would put them in the once a week classes when they're younger, and then once they reach middle school, which is what I've done with my oldest, put them in the school that does the twice a week thing. Now, if you don't have something like that in your area, which probably a lot of people don't, then I would do something like BJU. Once they reached middle school, I would do the BJU online classes. And I would just make sure to be like a part of a co-op, or there's going to be some kind of like homeschooling group. You have friends that homeschool, something like that. So you can get them out around, you know, kids their age and everything, while also still giving them a firm foundation as far as their education. So that is what I would do. And then hopefully, you know, it may be that you have to keep them in the online thing for, you know, the rest of their schooling, but maybe not. Maybe you get through that difficult time with your toddlers and babies, and you're able to sit down with them one-on-one a little bit more. So I do think that, you know, time will pass, your kids will get older, and things will get a little bit easier. So that is it for today's video. My daughter is not happy, so I'm going to have to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. See you next time. Bye.